Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to A Gathering Place, brought to you by the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce and hosted by me, Marilyn Hemingway. And today we are excited to bring you Awesome Jeremy, a Gullah Geechee artist from Georgetown, South Carolina. So right after our opening, we'll bring to you Awesome Jeremy. We'll see you in a minute.
Hello, I'm Marilyn Hemingway, and welcome to A Gathering Place. I said, I'm stepping back because we have young voices who want to be heard and they're moving on something.
Branding is really important to you and your business.
Even the basic type of technology, you learn it all.
And people are
Good question.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And we are so excited to have with us Awesome Jeremy, a Gullah Geechee artist from Georgetown, South Carolina. And we're going to bring him right on so we can right to it, find out who he is, what's his inspiration and motivation, and talk about some of his artwork, because I just really love some of his pieces that I have had the privilege to view recently. So welcome, everyone. Awesome Jeremy. Hey!
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
It's all doing good. Awesome, Jeremy. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you coming on to A Gathering Place to talk about your artwork.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So you're looking well today, and I just want to just jump right on it in this beautiful weather that we're having here. And just find out who is Awesome Jeremy and how did you become an artist?
Oh, well, Awesome Jeremy is just a new version of myself, which we all will go through certain phases in life when you come to that crossroad, when you evolve to become the better you. Each one of us has an awesome version of ourselves, and it's all about evolution. And as far as art, I've been actually creating my own art since I was like 3 years old. Ever since my mom got tired of drawing Superman for me, she said, you better learn how to draw him yourself. And so that's how it started. Yes. And even before I could read, I read comics, if you can get that. Because the style of art in the comic art, it kind of told the story without the words, by action. So I took that and embraced that part of art, so that way you can paint pictures without words.
I was actually going to say that, and you answered the question I was going to say, is that comic books tell a story through visual,
Right.
through the art, the visual arts,
Right.
and then that's what you picked up. And and I really think that's kind of reflected in your art even to this day. Do you think so, that you kind of see that vision?
Yes.
So as we speak, I'm going to put one up, because this is like, I met Awesome Jeremy, when was it, Monday?
The art show was Monday.
Yeah, the art show on Monday at the Rice Museum in Georgetown on Front Street. So y'all need to go by and check out his artwork. But I love the fairies. So let's talk about the fairies. So,
yes.
Yeah, this is my favorite. Yeah, this is the tell us about this, Awesome Jeremy.
Okay, this piece is called the Aziza Fairies, right? Now, one thing about my artwork, I dedicate all my artwork into speaking truth, especially to my people who's been left in the dark for a long time. We've been fed a lot of false information about a lot of things. And I remember as a kid, I was a big Disney fan, right? So, they have a lot of mythical creatures and stuff like fairies and all of that. But upon doing further research, I found out that the fairies stories, or the legends of the myth of the fairies, originally came from Africa. They were called the Aziza fairies. All right. And that's the origin of these creatures. And then from other stories, it came through Europe, and that's how it turned to the fairies that you know today.
Very good. So in this picture that we're looking at, is this a young girl who is visiting with the fairies? Tell us about this particular picture.
Okay, it kind of reflects also as well, the way I look at it, as my childhood. I used to play alone by myself, about 3-4 years old. I would always play in a field of clovers and stuff, and had a big imagination. But so in this case, I thought about all the little girls out there who never had the chance to have the little Afro fairies or the the black dolls and stuff like that. So this is for these kids and stuff to kind of give them inspiration. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we when we met, and I'm going to take the picture down now. But when we met, when I saw this, I immediately thought about imagination
Right. Right.
and mythology, our stories,
Right.
whether they're fact or fiction,
Right.
take
Mm-hmm.
imagination. Life takes imagination to not only survive but to
Right.
thrive. And it's a good thing that we have these stories of fairies,
Right.
fact or fiction,
Right.
and many of our stories are rooted in fact.
Right.
That it create it allows us to be imaginative, and when you
Right.
are imaginative you tend to be innovative, you tend to
That's it.
discover new things, you tell new stories, and that's a good thing because that can be applied to so many things in knowledge, in
R-
education, and wisdom. So is that what you find when you are painting the fairies?
Oh yes, definitely. Imagination plays a role in everything that I create. Everything comes from the mind, the imagination. We came everything that's created comes from the imagination first. You know, every inventor, he has to imagine something. It's always about the vision first. You got to have the vision before you can. It's about making things manifest. You know, you have the vision first, then you speak it. You have it in your mind, and you speak it from your mouth. You know, you put these words out into the universe, and you create certain situations. Even if it doesn't create anything physical, you will create inspiration. So something is being created from the imagination. Yes.
Wow, that's, I'm into that. So
Right. Now
and
it goes
yeah, go
so
ahead.
deep, and and not getting religious or spiritual or anything, but even speaking of God, like if he's the ultimate creator, creating takes imagination. If we are children of God, then we are baby creators, and that's all he wants us to do, is to continue his legacy and create. So, and that's what I like to put out. And that's what the whole awesomeness movement is. It's bringing out the creators in each and every one of us, bringing back the imagination, the childlike imagination that we all have dormant inside of us. We got to bring that out to find the real, the true us, the God within ourselves.
And I think so. What you're talking about, get the spiritual level.
Right.
I think in this world now, the worldly,
Mm.
that too often we force our children to grow up so quickly, and some of it is out of our control.
Right.
When
Right.
we have to uh, teach our children how to interact with the police, for example,
Mm.
that takes them out of their childhood quickly. And then on
Right.
the flip side, with some of us, and I'm going to say, some of y'all can be mad at me, but that's why we have comment sections. So y'all send your comments
Yes.
that
Yes. Yes.
we sometimes dress our children as adults before
Yes.
their age. I really truly believe our children need to have their childhood as long as possible.
Right.
So when
Right.
I see the fairies, even I have been known when I lived out in the country a few years ago, and that's a whole nother story, but I made the fairy houses and put them in the trees, the fairy doors and put them in the trees because I just love
Right.
it's about childhoods. It's about maintaining that
That's the key.
childlike curiosity, that
Yes.
childlike imagination on an adult level, that to feed that, because that helps me become more creative and it feeds into other parts of my life. And I, for one, really truly believe that we need to let our children be children as long
Right.
as possible.
Right. And the truth with that, you're so right. A lot of times we let our fears, and let me tell you, fear is the ultimate enemy of everything. It's a trap, because fear causes us to take our kids out of their childhood element for no reason at all, just because for our own fears. You know, you have to trust the universe, trust God, pray on it, pray for your children. Of course, you keep them covered, But at the same time, you can't have any fear because it emulates. Because just as you create from your mind something positive, that fear can create a negative outcome as well. So we want to eliminate the fear and stuff.
Yeah, and so do you find as you're painting, y'all going to put that? Oh, thank you, Latasha, for that comment. Absolutely, and also she stated that this is a powerful concept. This, I think, actually speaks to the power of art, the
Mm,
power of our artists. That
right,
you, as an artist, you're tapping into your own imagination, but
right,
you are also encouraging others to use their imagination.
right.
Do you find that to be true? And what are your thoughts?
That's what it's all about. It's not about me just painting, and teaching art. I love teaching more than I love creating because I like to watch new creators come out. You know what I mean? Once they tap in, that's my reward right there because they can do it on their own after that. Yeah, but that's
Yes,
what it's
yeah.
all about.
And recently you were at the Rice Museum because you're down here until the end of this week because
Yes.
because the exhibit. But you taught some classes. I'm gonna throw that picture. And how many kids did you have? This was awesome, Jeremy, because you had so many kids in the class. And this picture is you. You can see some of your artwork behind you.
Right,
But
right.
you were also teaching classes, and it got so large. I think you had 42 kids that you had to split it into two classes.
Yeah, we had 41 kids exactly. And we did have two classes. I kind of knew it would be a lot of the kids. Um, and I usually do this in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was kind of shocked by the outcome that I did have, but I was very much appreciative. I love to see these kids come out and do something like this because it intrigues their mind. And I guarantee you, all of them want to do this again. So I apologize to all the parents, but yeah, you got to go out and get some canvases and some paints and stuff and keep them occupied. So,
But
and that's what it's
that's a
all
good
about.
investment. But that's a good investment in your children
Right,
and
right,
showing them the possibilities that are out there.
right,
This is
right,
once again tapping into that imagination and showing them what's available and what's out there. So let's talk about that a little bit also. What was your journey like to get to this point? What So you told us about what your mother did for you, the comics, etc.
right.
But what led you to be with us today, Jeremy, that you really have grown as an artist?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Now, I could have been out there painting things that I personally wanted to paint. Just random things. I love comics. It would have probably still been comics all day and just some really hot graphics and stuff like that. But went through a change in my life when I realized I want to do something that's going to really help my community, build my community more than putting money in my pockets. So I was like, what can I do? I can just teach everything I know. So I know art, and then once you're an artist, you learn to tap into every other field of art. You realize, hey, all I have to do is practice anything and I'll get good at it. So yeah, that's kind of like how I got in the position I am, why I teach and why I like to give back instead of taking my time to create personal artwork and for personal gain. Also, the main thing I like to teach through my artwork. That's the main thing. I like to create things to make people uncomfortable, to make you ask questions, because the more we sugarcoat things, we're never going to get to the answers we want. We're going to continue to go around in these circles, and my artwork teaches you to research. It makes you ask the questions. So
Very
it's
good. So
yeah.
when I walked into the exhibit reception on Monday, I walked in the door and I walked right into this heavy conversation.
Oh
Yeah, it
yeah.
was it was so deep and heavy that I actually thought y'all were doing a program because presiding
Oh
elder Sandy Drayton was there of the Georgetown district of the AME Church, and you and him
right.
were getting into some um, complex, nuanced conversation uh, regarding
Yeah.
spirituality and the
Uh
art and the culture. Um,
right.
talk about a little bit about that with the Gullah Geechee culture, who we are as people, our history, and how it ties into your art.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna break this all down because this really defines everything in that conversation. I grew up in a very religious family, very spiritual, but yet we were very religious as well. And as I grew into adulthood, I like to do a lot of my own research, and it kind of opened me up to some new things and some new understanding. And a lot of things since slavery, it kept us in a dormant position as far as for our intelligence and our spirituality and our growth and things. And one thing and I use this to my art. I make it very clear that it's a difference between religion and spirituality. And I'm trying to get my people to go back to their spirituality, open yourselves back up to your natural spirituality, and walk away from this man-made religion. And then you watch the true God within you work itself, because what you're doing with religion is actually chaining up the God within you. Okay. But my job is and that's pretty much what that conversation was all about, about the different things, how religion has a grip on our people, particularly. You know what I mean? Once fear is planted in you, and then you plant that into your children, and it goes forever and ever until you break these cycles, these curses of fear. All right. And that's what I want to do with my artwork. The more people that understand the stuff and research and go deeper into spirituality and the metaphysical realm of everything, then it opens you up, and then you can see everything clearly, and that's what it's all about with me.
You keep going back to this theme of fear.
Mm.
And I agree with you. I think I understand where you're coming from, and I come from a different direction. I appreciate art, and I dabble in stuff, and I say I dabble because I don't concentrate on one particular thing. For me, it's release. I like creating stuff, but that's not my
Right.
field. My field is economics and environmental, and because that's what I love, and I believe in economic uplift. With
Yes,
that being, and
yes.
started some businesses, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
With that said, for me to do what I do, I had to overcome my internal fear,
Yes.
because I think I remember you on Monday saying something. We first must heal and grow as individuals.
Right.
And those of you who have followed my show, you've heard me talk about this, that I had to, and it's not about complete healing. It's
Right.
about going on a healthy journey. We're all on
Yes.
a journey, and this is about a continuous journey of seeking healing, but knowing your health, your self-care, your wellness. It starts here as an individual, whichever
Exactly.
direction you take that. And once you heal, then
Right.
your household will become healthier. Your community will become healthy. But first, we
Right.
have to start here, because as a people, we are traumatized.
Exactly. And
But as
before,
individuals, we're also traumatized just
right.
because of the history of the culture. Then, as individuals, just being human, we have trauma visited upon us, and we have to understand that so we can
Yes.
get on a healthy journey.
Yeah. You are so right about that. And that's very important. Um, yeah, we got to clear our minds. And also with that saying, as far as healthy, it's all about what we put into our system, whether it's physical food or what we're drinking, or whether it's words coming from other people. We don't have to accept certain things. You know what I mean? Some things we hold, we think about it, we allow people to get to us, and it is builds certain negative vibrations around you and in you. So it's not good. So it's all about being healthy. Eat the right things that grow from the earth. Everything is natural that comes from the earth. And it helps the way you think, and you can think a lot clearer like that. So it's health as well.
Yes, it is. And we hear so often, we hear about when you said health is wealth, we hear about
Hmm.
um without our health, we don't have wealth. It's not a it is a cliche, but cliches are
Right.
embedded in truth. That's why they become cliches. But the
Right. Right.
the downside of a cliche is when our mothers and fathers,
Mm.
grandmothers, and grandfathers say it to us, we tend to push
Right.
it off and downplay. Oh, that's just the old folks talking. But
Right.
they
Instead of
come
digging
from
in and
a place of wisdom.
right. It all
Yeah.
stems to something. You got to dig in and really understand what they mean. And it's always
Yes.
something very powerful too.
Very
Oh
good.
yeah.
Very good. You know, also being on a healthy journey as an individual allows me to create a show like this to welcome an awesome Jeremy artist. Because if I
Awesome.
was not on a healthy journey, I would not see in you that I need to open my doors to uplift you, to
Mm,
help you
right.
be exposed to a larger audience so they can purchase your art. That's also a sign that you're on a healthy journey, because so many of us, when you're unhealthy, you don't realize it. You tend to
You
hold
don't
things
know it.
close. Yeah.
Right.
And you really don't share. But when you're on a healthy journey, you then gain the confidence, you gain the openness to uplift others. And
Right.
um then you get to have a awesome Jeremy on your show and share your story with others. So I just wanted to mention that so others can recognize, am I on a healthy journey? There are signs. There are signs that you're on a healthy journey. So Jeremy, I can't
Uh-huh.
see you right now. I don't know if you took the video
Oh,
off or not, but
okay, let me double check. Let me see what's
yeah, I think you hit something.
on.
Now you
All
have
right,
your
let me double
avatar is
check.
on. Yeah. I think your
Okay, let
camera
me check
is
real quick.
off.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
I got you. I'm sorry. So sorry.
No problem. So the reason
Okay.
I mentioned this about being
Mm,
on a healthy journey and recognizing the signs, I don't know if you
right.
are conscious of this when you're painting, but I noticed in your paintings, and I'm going to put up another one, you have a lot of color in your paintings, bright colors.
Yes.
Tell us why. Is this because you're on a healthy journey so that your colors, is this part of that sign that you're on a healthy journey?
Well, usually that's not for me to say. That's for everyone else to see. And I guess that's what it's from. Like, it's kind of an expression of where I am now in this place in my life. Everything is bright and everything is vivid, like very colorful, very happy. You know what I mean? So that's what I like to emulate through my artwork right now with these colors.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, Latasha, thank you for that. She said she really needs to hear this today. Y'all are teaching,
Awesome.
and Latasha, we are just as Jeremy just said, awesome, and we are just happy to just help where we can. And so we
Right, right,
appreciate you saying that. And then Eric Grant, he says, healing makes movement, and movement is a healing. This is a great circle of Black spirituality and religion. And I think this is so appropriate. I didn't even see this until after I put up these paintings that you did, the dancing folks, that he Eric immediately picked up on that. The movement, healing is movement.
right,
Um,
right.
yeah,
Dancing. We
yeah,
dance when we're happy. That's the bottom line. We dance when we're happy. When you're super happy, you're in the kitchen, you don't even have to have music. You make it in your head. You just start dancing. So that's a part of our culture. We were always happy. You know what I mean? Soon as
yeah.
this, yeah, we're a happy people. We're naturally happy people. All right. And it's outside interference that causes us to lower our vibration and come away from our natural selves.
Yeah, because um even movement coming out of COVID,
Right.
it's and I had my annual checkup. It just happened to be last week.
Hmm.
Um, but coming out of COVID,
Right.
I've been feeling stiff
Right.
because we've been, for our safety,
Right.
we've been at home and we have not been as active and moving as much as we were before. And I can tell you, in my body, I feel it. So I'm going to be getting physical therapy, but I also have some stuff where I can dance, just move, just move. And it's healthy.
That's right.
The not only does it reflect healthiness, it creates healthiness. We
Right.
need to move.
You know what
We
else is
need to
you know what
move.
else is
Go
very
ahead.
healthy for you? Laughter, just as healthy as moving. Laugh. Laugh at
That's right.
something every day.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. Laughter is very healthy for you. It generates those healthy hormones and everything in all of us, male
Yes.
and female. Laughter. So it's good to tell jokes and stuff and have we all have different types of sense of
Right.
humor, but laugh sometimes. Sometimes just laugh out loud. You don't have
Yes.
to even wait for a joke. Just laugh. And
Yeah.
so do you feel that you express this in your art?
All the time. Yes. I definitely express joy and happiness, but then it's also some art that I have to remind people of what's going on in the Black community. So some things aren't so happy, you know what I mean? But it hits it right on the head and it needs to be seen. I like to paint things that people are uncomfortable with, that they don't want to talk about. I put it out there for us to talk about, until you can't deny it, and I'm a fairly good artist, so it looks good. So people are going to want to see it. So if you're going to want to see my art, then I want to put something up there that's going to really change some lives, make you ask some questions and learn something that you didn't know before that you would like to apply to your life.
Yes, yes, very good, very true. Thank you for sharing that, and I think you use your art to convey that message.
Right.
We had a question. Speaking of your art, and this is
Hmm.
why another reason why you're on here, because I support our artists, and we all have to make a living,
Right.
and
Right. Yeah.
actually more than a living, we have to thrive. So
Yes, we do.
where so right now you're at the Rice Museum in Georgetown. So tell us
Yes.
about that exhibit and how we can purchase it. I'm going to put the address up while we're talking.
Yes. Yes, I have an exhibit right now at the Rice Museum. It's called "The Visual Voices of Our Gullah Ancestors." And it kind of digs in about our Gullah roots and where we come from, and it kind of goes a little deeper. And one thing about it, from the Gullah community, if people do a little more research, they'll learn more about the natives, the Native Americans that were here before slavery. Now, I want to say something real quick because I want to open a lot of minds just in case people didn't know this. A lot of our people always believe that we all just came from Africa. And this is one of the biggest lies and misinformation that's been put out there for years, okay? When the slaves came to America, when they started coming, I'll say, as a matter of fact, let's say about mid 18, like early 1820s, as far as I can remember, the count was, um, there were only about 20% of all of the blacks that were in America. The 20% had came over from Africa. The rest of them were already here in the Americas. All right. And this is a fact. And a lot of ones that we call the Gullah community, they were escaped slaves or freed slaves that linked up with the other blacks that were already here in the Americas, which a lot of them were called the Florida Seminoles. If you ever heard about the Seminoles, a lot of times we get stories about them and you just hear about them just being Native Americans, but no, they were the color of us. So we got to understand, we got to link back up to the earth and understand who we are and that we were on every continent. Okay. So we have to, and I do a lot of paintings to share that in particular, that we got to empower ourselves by knowing who we are, you know? So I just wanted to throw that out there. It may help somebody. You might want to tell your kids that. So when they go to school next year, they can go and tell their teachers the truth.
We even on this show, Jeremy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll share that show to you with you by email because it's a brother from Georgetown from the North Santee community, Sam Livingston. He's a
Uh-huh.
professor at Morehouse, and
Oh, awesome.
he's working on a book about 1526 when the enslaved Africans arrived in
Uh-huh.
Georgetown, then from with the Spanish. See, it was the Spanish first, then they ended up further south around the Beaufort St. Helena Island area.
Uh-huh.
Then they ended up in St. Augustine, Florida. So those Seminoles that you talk about,
Mm-hmm.
um, what happened is many of the enslaved, even in Georgetown,
Yeah.
escaped into the woods.
Right.
And it is believed that more than likely they connected with the Native Americans who were already here.
Right.
And so some of us, if you be digging the DNA, then you start getting to Native American, etc. We usually hear
Right.
about Cherokee, but you have Winyah, the Choppy
Right.
Indians. There's a reason it's called Choppy Indians because there was a Choppy Native American tribe.
Exactly.
Eddystone,
Right.
PD.
Right.
PD's tribe is still here. They're not recognized, but there's a PD tribe, the Waccamaw tribe. is
Yes,
here.
yes.
All those are Native American names that enslaved Africans escaped into, and
Right.
there's been a lot of intermixing. Had you say
Yes.
the Seminoles in
Right.
Florida? All right,
Right.
so this people need to be aware of this. Um, so this is part of the learning. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and this
Mm-hmm.
informs who we are even to this day,
Right.
including the Europeans, the
Right.
Spanish, and the English and the French
Exactly.
blood that is in us, DNA that is
Right.
in us. Yeah,
So,
it informs who
right.
we are to this day. Miss Dorsey, good to hear you. Have you, Miss Moretta Dorsey? I'm speaking. I have a question. She said, "How long will the exhibit be on display?" Is her question at the
Yes,
Rice Museum.
it's gonna be at the Rice Museum all through July. It'll be there for a while. Yeah.
All right, so
Right
you
now
can
it's
stop by through July. Mhm.
right. It's at the Clock Tower right now, but it's gonna move over to the big gallery next door at beginning of July.
And it'll be there for quite a while. Yeah. So right now it's under the clock tower in the studio room, and then at the beginning of July they'll move it to the Bake Rice Museum Gallery.
Yes. Please go
Beautiful
check
work.
it out.
Yes, beautiful. Yep. Go check it out and buy some of the artwork there. So we're going to show excellent teaching. Please share the broadcast. We'll definitely share it, Latasha. We'll share the broadcast, and I'll throw up a couple of pictures again, especially the one where you're teaching. There you go. You can see in the background
Awesome.
um, the Madonna and Child, and there's another one I can't quite
Yes, that one
tell me
is
a little bit
all is
about those.
mine. And I have one over there featured about the Tulsa Race Massacre as well, too. It's called
That's the one with the
Suffocation.
fire.
Yes, yes, it's
Yeah,
called
yep, yep.
Suffocation.
Yeah, y'all, these are some powerful artwork. I encourage you to go check it out at the Rice Museum in Georgetown. And I'll put that address back up. And let me see if we have another question here. Excellent. Looking forward to checking it out. Yes, Miss Dorsey, thank you very much. She says she looks forward to checking that out. So
Awesome, awesome.
we'll put back up. And you have a website. Got to
Yes,
remember
yes,
that.
yes, yes. artsbyawesomejeremy.com. Just check it out, or you can find me online on Facebook or Instagram under Drayton Animation. All right. So please
And
check out the artwork.
where's the animation? Where's that again?
That's just my website on Facebook and Instagram. It's Drayton Animation.
All right, very good. Yeah, so this is awesome, Jeremy. And before we continue our conversation, I want to remind everyone that you are watching A Gathering Place brought to you by the Gullah Geechee Chamber of Commerce with your host, myself, Marilyn Hemingway. And I am always excited to bring on our artists and the work that they're doing, and and just excited to support, especially the
Yes,
Gullah
yes.
Geechee artists and artisans that are out here. So, Jeremy, where do you live now? You're not in Georgetown, so where do you live now?
Oh no, I reside in Tulsa, Oklahoma now.
Very
Yeah,
good. So,
yeah,
so what are your thoughts regarding the recent 100th anniversary of the um, massacre in Tulsa, the bombing?
yeah,
A lot of documentaries about that incident
yeah.
100 years ago.
And one thing I have a lot of art that's floating around Tulsa right now during this time. Painting my picture. My biggest picture that I wanted to paint was the Tulsa Phoenix, and it's from the ashes we rise. And one thing I would like to say before we talk about what happened in Tulsa, let's address that all the other times that this has happened to Black communities that they don't pay attention to, that have not been documented. All the time that communities and towns have been bombed and burned and ran through and pillaged. It's happened a lot of time. It just happened here in North Carolina and in about 1895. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been going on a lot, and that's one thing I've been stressing with them. But as far as for Tulsa, when I first got there, I heard the stories and stuff. So I would ask the old men at the barber shops and stuff. I was like, okay, so what are you guys doing about it? What do you own now on Greenwood? And 100 years later, they still don't own anything. So that goes to my theory about the fence. They wanted to keep us in a small fence that was Greenwood, and because of that, it does something to your mind. You believe you belong in a fence with your people instead of opening that fence and seeing the rest of the world that really belongs to you. You know, why limit yourself to Greenwood, one little corner of Tulsa, when you can be any and everywhere you want to be in that city? You know, so what that really did was limit us. But it's unfortunate about the lives and the businesses that were lost. But when you look at Tulsa now, the businesses of the Black entrepreneurs is out of this world right now. It's skyrocketing. So we always bounce back. From the beginning of time, that's all we've ever done. We've bounced back. We're the most resilient things God ever created.
And I think
Wilmington, you're
even,
right. You got
yeah,
it, Eric Grant.
yeah,
Wilmington.
Wilmington. Yeah, there's a documentary about Wilmington called Wilmington on Fire. And we actually had one of the executive producers, Larry Rennie Thomas, here
Right.
in Georgetown
Mm.
about because from and he's from Wilmington and
Oh,
grew up hearing the stories and became one of the executive producers of the documentary
mm.
Wilmington on Fire. So this was even before Tulsa. But even
Yeah.
before that, I think people really need to understand our history,
It's been
even in
Rosewood.
Georgetown. Well,
Yeah.
Georgetown, Rosewood, there was a movie, Rosewood. But Georgetown, after the Civil War, on Front Street, which is our main business district in the city of Georgetown, was majority Black,
Yes, it
along
was.
with King Street.
Was it
And
20? They had 27 businesses on Front Street were Black.
yeah. And then on King Street also were Black. And after the Civil, that's how Georgetown survived for
Right.
everybody.
Yeah.
And people really need to understand, why was that? Why were recently enslaved able to start businesses? Because they had the skills. You know,
Right.
all too often, Jeremy, we hear, well, they were enslaved because they grew the rice. They
Right.
were enslaved because they knew how to control the water and
Right.
manage the land to grow the rice.
That was it.
That
Yes.
speaks to engineering and building. Not only that, people have to understand plantations were cities in and of themselves. They operated like little cities. So
Yes.
everybody who lived on the plantation had to know everything. It
Yeah.
wasn't just growing rice. You were the carriage makers, the carriage drivers. When you
Right.
worked in the big house, it wasn't just cooking. You were the seamstress. You built the house.
That's
You
correct.
actually physically, as an enslaved person, built everything.
Did
So at the
everything.
end, they did everything.
Everything.
Everything. So when slavery ended and they came off those plantations, they took those skills and put them to use, put them to work. They did what
Right.
in America we're told to do: create businesses, create wealth. That's what they did. But in pushback, and if you look at history, there's always been blowback. There's always been pushback as
Yeah.
Blacks seek to strive.
Right.
And what ended up, lynchings happened.
Right.
Businesses were bombed, even here in Georgetown. So
Yes.
people left. They went for economic opportunity, but they also left to escape violence. The
Yeah.
violence of physical violence, but also violence of the laws that were put in place to end your
Yeah.
business. The laws
Right.
that were put in place to end education or to denigrate education to the point where it wasn't worth anything. So people left. You know, that also was a slow massacre. It
Wow.
may not have happened over 2 days, but it happened over years. And people, when you start researching and understanding history, it gives you the context of what's happening today.
Right.
But it takes someone like a Jeremy to put this knowledge that he has into paintings that people can relate to and they can see. So that's why someone like a Jeremy is awesome. That's why a Jeremy is so powerful, because you take that and you visualize it where people can actually see it. So I didn't have the best picture. So
No, that was good. It worked.
but
It worked.
I want to bring it back up again because just over his shoulder is that picture with the fire. And I think you can see the fire and everything.
Yes, over in the far left corner.
Yeah. But if you really want to see this, y'all, you know where you need to go. It's there now. the Rice Museum at 633 Front Street in Georgetown. And you can go see not only his picture regarding Tulsa, but you can see the folks who are dancing, the celebration, the love, the healthiness that we have as a community. I love these. They just remind me of so many things. And also the fairies. This is our imagination at work. I mean, he just has some beautiful work, colorful, and I just really related to the fairies because that imagination piece and everything. And
Right.
all of this, it takes imagination to create business.
Yes.
It takes
Yes.
imagination to create skills, to develop skills. And imagination covers everything. It takes imagination of doctors to operate on us, to learn.
Right.
It takes imagination of engineers, agriculture. The farmers have imagination because you can visualize something, then you create it.
Right.
Jeremy is an
That's it.
artist, can imagine it. So imagination covers so much, and that's why it's so important that we love our children enough that we allow them, we fight for them to have a childhood as long as possible so that imagination can open up so many doors for them.
Right. Correct.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
important.
So, Jeremy, what else do you want to share with our viewing audience today? Did we get everything in?
Man, you know what? If we go on all day, I can keep going, But just everybody just go check out my work, check out my website, and I have a lot more artwork on there that's not even at that gallery right now. But if you check out my website, follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Drayton Animation. I share a lot of work, and please feel free to just hit me up and ask questions. I just like to open minds, and I love to talk about it.
So are you going to be at the exhibit also are you dropping in? I know you had the reception and everything, but will you be there at different times if people happen to drop by and catch you?
Yes, I will be there Friday. So I'll be
Okay.
there for from about noon until 4 Friday.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So noon to 4 this Friday, folks. You can stop by
Yeah.
the Rice Museum in Georgetown at
Right.
633 Front Street in Georgetown and meet Jeremy in person, and you guys can continue this conversation from today.
Yes, yes, yes. We can
Very
unlock a
good,
lot of
very
things. So
That's right. That's right. I'm telling you, when I walked in that reception, I was like, am I like walking in the middle of the program? Because you had the presiding elder just, stating some words.
right,
And you
right,
were too. And that's the kind of conversation I just love hearing. I love seeing
right,
in our community. So
right.
wonderful job. Jeremy, I
Thank
want to thank you for joining us today. I look forward to
thank you for having
sharing
me.
some more with you. Oh, wonderful. You're welcome anytime. I want to encourage everybody to stop by your website, artsbyawesomejeremy.com.
Yes,
And of course, you're now at the Rice Museum at 633 Front Street, and his artwork will be there until the end of July, if not longer.
right. But that won't
And
be
if
it.
you
Yeah, that won't be it. I have some new deals since I've been back to Georgetown, so you're gonna see a lot more of my art in a few more places. Yeah, we're working on something with Brook Green right now too, so as well. So just look out for some work by Awesome Jeremy. It'll be out there.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Awesome Jeremy, for joining me today. I've really enjoyed the conversation. It's been good.
Likewise.
And I look forward, I'm going to try to stop by Friday and say hello, and we could talk some more about the artwork and getting some prints and stuff, because that's what I want.
Okay, we can
And
talk about it.
yes, we will. Thank you, Awesome Jeremy, and we'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time. Have a wonderful day.
You do the same. Have a good one.
I want to thank everybody for joining me today and remind you that a gathering place is every Wednesday and Sunday at 4 p.m. And this Sunday, we're going to have a wonderful show also. This Sunday is going to be all about Juneteenth. Celebrate, liberate, educate. This Sunday at 4 o'clock, we're talking Juneteenth celebrations. Y'all, I have gotten so many flyers and announcements about Juneteenth celebrations that I decided to bring on as many as I can this Sunday to talk about what's happening in communities around the Gullah Geechee community. And also went all the way up to Columbia also because they're celebrating 5 years of celebrating Juneteenth in Columbia. And we're going to have those folks on talking about Juneteenth, celebrate, liberate, educate, and also their different events that they're having. We're Bucksport, Conway, Georgetown, Andrews, Columbia, Charleston, and surrounding areas. We're just, man, these Juneteenth celebrations are happening. And I want to bring those folks on so they can give us the details and talk to us about the importance of Juneteenth and why they've decided to celebrate Juneteenth and also Emancipation Day. We're going to get into that conversation also because there is a difference between Emancipation Day and Juneteenth, and we need to understand that. Once again, that is part of our history. We need to understand the importance of that. So I want to invite all of you back this Sunday, June 13th at 4 p.m. on a gathering place. Let's talk about all things Juneteenth. And thank you for joining us today and meeting Awesome Jeremy and his wonderful artwork. We're looking forward to hearing more about him and seeing more about him. And as we continue, we will continue to invite on African American mayors in the Gullah Geechee corridor, focus on African American Gullah artists, and also Gullah Geechee communities and what's going on out there. And we have some big news coming from the Gullah Geechee Chamber that we're excited about. There are a lot of good things happening, folks. And it's all about the water and the land and our culture. And you're going to learn more. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to find somebody who can interview me so I can tell you about the stuff going on. It's good stuff, y'all. It's good stuff. And it's all about my culture and community and loving on it and helping it grow. So once again, this Sunday at 4 o'clock, join us. We're going to be talking all things Juneteenth. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And thank you, Awesome Jeremy, for coming on out and sharing your artwork and your story with us. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day and have a good evening.